college basketball. This week from St. John's University in Jamaica, Queens, it's Columbia versus Princeton for the Ivy League Championship. Participating advertiser is Schaefer Beer as another major event in your Schaefer's Circle of Sports. Schaefer, the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Good evening, everyone. This is Marty Glickman speaking from St. John's University's beautiful new gymnasium here in Jamaica, Queens, ready to bring you the climactic game of the season between Princeton and Columbia for the Ivy League title. As you know, they played last Saturday night at Princeton in a game which saw Princeton hold on to a lead throughout the ball game to win by 11 and thus clinch a tie for the Ivy League title. Tonight, they take on Columbia for the third time this season, having divided the first two. The first game played at Columbia, also televised through these facilities, was won by Columbia by a score of 69-60. This is the third game this season, but it's the 139th meeting between these two fine universities, Princeton and Columbia, a series which began way back in 1900. Princeton leads in the series 70 victories to 68 for Columbia. We'll be back for the opening tap-off in just 1 minute. Before the start of the ball game this evening, there's going to be a presentation to Jim McMillan, the outstanding Columbia sophomore, by Gordon White, the president of the Basketball Writers of New York City, Gordon of the New York Times. Then we'll allow the introduction of the starting lineups, and then the ball game, the big one. And as you can judge in the background, a capacity crowd is on hand. The game was scheduled at about 9:30 Saturday night, and here this Tuesday evening, all that can be handled here at St. John's beautiful gymnasium are on hand. Look at that crowd. That's Gordon White there in the center, holding a plaque, about to make a presentation. That's Steve Honzo, one of the two officials. Jim Lennon and Steve Honzo, the two men who worked the ball game last Saturday night, are working the ball game this evening. In case you're wondering, Dave Newmark is in uniform. He did warm up. We doubt that he will start. Here are the announcements now about the presentation. Here is Gordon White now.
Vice President of the United States Basketball Writers Association.
He is the Vice President of the United States Basketball Writers Association.
On behalf of the Writers Association, Mr. Gordon White.
And Gordon White is at midcourt with a microphone. There he is.
Every year, the Writers Association
picks an all-star team of 5 college players from each of 9 districts in the United States.
Best players in the country.
The 45 best players in the country.
This year, the District 2 team, which is New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and Navy.
This year, the District 2 team.
Has the unique team in the picked 3 sophomores.
Has picked 3 sophomores this year.
Two of them are Bob Lanier of St. Bonaventure.
Bob Lanier of St. Bonaventure is one of the 3, and Cal Murphy of Niagara, whom we saw a couple of weeks ago against St. Peter's. The third is sophomore on the All-Star team. The third sophomore on the All-Star team.
To whom I wish to present this plaque is Jimmy McMillan.
Did you hear that roar? Jimmy McMillan, sophomore, selected by the United States Writers as an all-star in District 2. But I think the most noteworthy element was that tremendous roar when his name was announced. Both groups here are shouting, "Let's go Tigers, let's go Lions." starting lineup is being announced. That's Hayward Dotson out at midcourt now at one forward. At the other forward is Bill Ames. Dotson, number 11. Ames, number 24. And Newmark is starting. Dave Newmark announced as the starter. The 7-foot junior center, number 33. That's Roger Walazik, number 14, junior, 6'3". And Jim McMillan, number 5, 6'5" sophomore. That's the starting five for Columbia. Their coach, Dave Rowan. Did I say Dave? I meant Jack Rowan. Now for Princeton, Joe Heiser, captain of the ball club. He's 6 feet 2 inches tall. Sophomore Jeff Petrie, number 24. He's 6 feet 3. At center, Chris Comfort, a junior, 6 feet 9. John Hollow, number 31, a senior, who's 6'7". And John Hummer, number 44, a sophomore, who also is 6'7", or perhaps 6'8". Coach of the ball club for Princeton, Pete Carell. Princeton in white, Columbia in blue, the darker uniforms. Ready to go now, opening tap-off for the Ivy League title. Columbia ball, that's Ames in the backcourt. Princeton goes to a man-to-man defense. McMillan being guarded by Hummer. Newmark lays it up and in. Columbia leads 2-0. That's Joe Heiser, captain. Chris Comfort on the post. Heiser cutting. Harlow shoots. It's all tied at 2. 2 shots taken, 2 shots made. All tied at 2. Columbia is nominally the visiting team, wearing the dark uniforms, and they're referred to as the visitor on the scoreboard, which you'll see later. That's McMillan. Taken off by Petrie. Petrie, number 24 for Princeton. That's Heiser on the far side. Heiser driving. Pulled down by McMillan, but a foul is called. Dave Newmark commits the foul. That's the first foul of the ball game. The visitors are Columbia. The home team is Princeton. Princeton in white. They're at neutral. St. John's, of course. Joe Heiser shooting 2. He misses, and Heiser, the best foul shooter in America, misses. He made the second. He was foul shooting at 91% until he missed that first one. Top foul shooter in the country, collegiate-wise. Princeton leads 3-2. A minute gone in the first half, 20-minute halves. Dotson driving all the way. Harlow with the rebound. Princeton ball. They lead 3-2. That's Petrie with it. Traveling violation called against Petrie. Dave Newmark has started the ball game after missing 4 games. The last 4 Columbia has played. Newmark has started. He's playing the deep pivot right now. Off to the right of screen. That's Dotson. As McMillan driving. The basket is good. He was fouled. He was fouled by John Hummer. Columbia leads 4-3. McMillan on the line. He'll shoot 1. A minute and a half is gone. Good study of Jim McMillan, or it was a moment ago. It's 5-3 Columbia. Princeton with the ball. Heiser and Petrie bring it up, and up front to Hummer, Harlow, and Tumford. Heiser driving over to Harlow. Good defensive play by Big Newmark. Bill Ames out of Dallas, Texas, a senior, brings it in for Columbia. McMillan has it. Out to Dotson. Dotson guarded by Petrie. Underneath, there's a whistle for a foul called. A pushing foul called against Newmark. That's Dave Newmark's second personal foul. Newmark, looking for that lead pass, was pushing off. Here's Chris Tumford on the line. Tumford is 6 feet 9 inches tall. Out of Lutheran High in Long Island. A junior at Princeton. 1 shot. It's 5-4 Columbia. Bill Ames brings it up. He's guarded by Heiser. Petrie is guarding Dotson. Hummer is guarding McMillan. That's Walezik shooting. It's 7-4, Columbia. Joe Heiser with the ball. Into the post to Thumford. There's Harlow with room. Rebound by Hummer. Hummer rebounds again. John Hummer scores. And it's 7-6, Columbia. Underneath to McMillan, all alone. He scores. A beautiful pass by Dotson, who saw McMillan cutting. And it's 9-6, Columbia. And already Jim McMillan has 5 of Columbia's 9 points. Heiser driving into the lane. As Hummer driving. Hold everything. Traveling violation before the shot. Columbia with the ball, leading 9-6. Both teams using tight man-to-man defenses. As McMillan going again. 11-6, Columbia. McMillan has 7 points. Traveling violation called against Heiser. Columbia with the ball and a 5-point lead, the biggest margin. 3 minutes and 35 seconds are gone in the first half. Columbia is leading 11-6. As Walezik, hold everything, no basket. Traveling violation against Walezik. They're calling them real tight tonight. Jim Lennon and Steve Hunso. Petrie guarded by Haywood Dotson. That's Harlow guarded by Walezik. Petrie again, number 24. A switch underneath the Thumford. Pretty play. Off Hummer's hand. Princeton missed an easy layup. Bruce Metz is in the lineup now for Columbia. Metz is in, replacing Ames. Metz is number 42. There's Newmark. Walezik shoots. Hummer grabbed the rebound. A long pass to Harlow. Metz has the rebound. Underneath to Dotson. Foul committed. Chris Thumford committed the foul. On the line is Haywood Dotson, ready to shoot 2. Bill Ames back in the lineup again. Ames replacing Bruce Metz. Dotson, a sophomore, 6 feet 4 inches tall, out of Staten Island and Stuyvesant High School. Officials calling for time for just a moment. This is Marty Glickman reporting from St. John's University Gym here in Jamaica, Queens. The occasion being the Ivy League playoff game, the 12th in the history of the Ivy League, between Columbia and Princeton. Incidentally, Princeton has been involved in 11 of the previous 12 playoff situations in the Ivy League.
Shooting 2 shots.
On the line, Haywood Dotson shooting a pair. He has yet to score. He does now. It's 12-6, Columbia by 6 points. 4.5 minutes are gone. And Columbia has a 7-point lead. It's 13-6, Columbia. Thumford guarded by Newmark. Thumford shoots. Rebound taken off by Hummer. Hummer lays it up. He scores. Johnny Hummer scoring his second bucket. He's got 4 points. It's 13-8 Columbia. Columbia with the ball. McMillan shoots. Rebound of Walezik all alone. No one blocked him out. They turned their back on Roger Walezik. No one blocked him out, and there he was with an easy rebound. 15-8. Again, a 7-point lead for Columbia. That's Petrie, number 24. On the far side to Harlow, number 31. That's Tumford, the blonde. Heiser almost lost it. Petrie again. Petrie drives. Foul committed. Hold everything. Foul is called against Dotson. Dotson's first personal foul. 2 committed by Newmark thus far. A total of 3. There's Jack Rowan, the Columbia coach. 2 team fouls committed by Princeton thus far. 1 shot now for Petrie. 15-9, Columbia by 6. Bill Ames and Haywood Dotson playing the backcourt. Ames with the ball up front to McMillan, Newmark, and Wilasik. The buzzer sounded for a moment. I don't know why. And the officials go over to the scorer's table. Apparently it sounded by itself. Someone must have kicked it or hit the buzzer of some sort. At any rate, it's Columbia ball. McMillan with it. He's guarded by Hummer. And in Newmark, he's deep. Now Dotson with room. Hit the rim. Princeton ball. It's 15-9. Columbia over Princeton. The Tiger has the ball. Heiser and Petrie in the backcourt. Up front to Harlow, Hummer, and Tumford. That's Hummer on the far side, guarded by McMillan. Petrie has it. There's his jumper. It looked as though it went through, but it did not hit the front of the rim and came straight down. 15-9. Columbia leads. Columbia with the ball. 13 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first half. McMillan double teamed. McMillan shoots. 17-9, and McMillan has 9 points. An 8-point lead. Tumford around the rim and in. The basket is disallowed. It was interfered with on the rim. The basket is disallowed. Tumford's bucket disallowed because it was interfered with, touched while on the rim, and I believe it was John Harlow who touched it. So the score remains Columbia 17, Princeton 9, 13:15 to go in the first half. Newmark on the post. And McMillan. There's Wilasik. Newmark again. Out it goes to Ames. Newmark again. Hold everything. The basket does not count. A foul committed by Tumford. Basket is disallowed. Chris Tumford commits his second personal foul and the third team foul of the first half. Dave Newmark shooting 1. His ball club leads by 8. McMillan with it. Rebound by Wilasik. Wilasik on the rebound. Columbia leads by 10 points. 19-9. Princeton calls time. There's time out on the floor with the score. Columbia 19. Princeton 9. Saturday afternoon at Maryland in the opening round of the Eastern NCAAs, and that game will be televised over WPIX beginning at 1:15 on Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning, the PSAL High School Championship here in New York at 11 o'clock over WPIX. Princeton ball. Petrie with it. They're trailing by 10, 19-9. Foul committed. Jim McMillan commits the foul. That's his first personal and the fourth team foul. The limit, you know, is 6. After a team commits 6 and 1/2, the bonus rule is in effect. This is John Hummer, who scored 27 last Saturday night to lead Princeton to its win against Columbia. It drops. He now has 5. 2 field goals and a foul for John Hummer. Hummer and McMillan are playing each other both ways, and quite a battle it is. 2 fine sophomores. There's McMillan now. Hummer guarding him. McMillan shoots. 21. 21-10, an 11-point lead. McMillan now has the 11 points. Heiser shooting. 21-12, Columbia. That's Joe Heiser's first field goal. He now has 3 points. Newmark on the post. There's Walezik. Walezik driving. The basket, not good. Foul committed. I think it's Joe Heiser. Heiser raising his hand. It is Heiser's first personal foul and the 4th team foul committed by Princeton. Both teams have committed 4 thus far here in the first half. 11:39 remains in the first half. Columbia is leading 21-12. 2 shots now for Walezik. Roger Walezik out of Massachusetts, a junior, 6'3". Comfort with the rebound. That's Joe Heiser bringing it in. Heiser in the corner. Jeff Petrie has it. And Heiser again. Petrie once more. Petrie shoots. Taken off by Hummer. A near steal by Dotson. There's Harlow driving. Harlow scores. 21-14. Columbia's lead was 11. It is now 7. Saturday night, Princeton led by as many as 14. Columbia cut it to 1. There's Newmark. Newmark hooking left. No basket. A charging foul against Newmark. His 3rd personal. Big Dave Newmark committing his 3rd and his team's 5th. That's Larry Borgia getting ready to check in. Harlow shooting. Rebound to Bill Ames for Columbia. 10.5 minutes remain in the first half. Columbia leads by 7, 21-14. Ames shoots. 23-14 as Bill Ames hits. That's Ames' first field goal. Heiser guarded by Ames. That's Harlow guarded by Walezik. Tumford guarded by Newmark. Tumford looking to draw another foul. Pretty basket by Chris Tumford. Tumford's first field goal. It's 23-16, Columbia by 7. And now Columbia calls for time. There's timeout on the floor with the score. Columbia 23, Princeton 16. Dave Newmark has been replaced in the Columbia lineup by Larry Borgia. Borgia, captain of the ball club, is 6'6". Newmark, as you know, is 7 feet tall. Newmark committed 3 personal fouls. 9:55 to go in the first half as Columbia brings it in the forecourt. As McMillan cutting. Rebound taken off by Harlow. Heiser bringing it up now. And Harlow. Heiser again. Jump ball called. The ball was not advanced. Bill Ames, close guarding, prevented Heiser from getting it off. Steve Hanzo will toss the ball between them at midcourt. Tumford has the ball. That's Hummer shooting. Make that Petrie. Petrie hits. Jeff Petrie, number 24, hitting. Petrie's first field goal, 23-18. Columbia's lead is cut to 5. They led by as many as 11. Lasik lost it. It's Princeton ball. They're on the move. They trail by 11. Now they trail by 5. 23-18. Joe Heiser bringing it up. Harlow on the far side. Got it by Lasik. In a Hummer. Underneath the Tumford. Knocked away. Larry Borger guarding Tumford closely. And Lasik picked it off. Dotson with the ball. Now Ames. McMillan at the far side. Underneath to Dotson. Dotson passing off. Ames shoots. Rebounded Tumford. With Big Dave Newmark out of the ball game, Tumford is a key man. Shot by Heiser. Rebound taken off by Lasik. Chris Tumford is now the tallest man on the floor at 6'9". He's the key man on defensive rebounds, and he can work deep out of the pivot now with Newmark temporarily out of the lineup. Dotson with it, guarded by Petrie. That's Lasik. There's McMillan again, shooting. It's still Columbia ball. Tumford last touch it. Here's Bruce Metz checking back into the lineup for Columbia, replacing Bill Ames. Ames scored 2 points. That's Metz, number 42. Lasik shooting. 25-18. As you see, 7:45 to go in the first half. Columbia leads by 7. That's Hummer on the post. Tumford has it now. It's good. The basket counts. He was fouled. Larry Borger committed the foul, and that's the limit for Columbia. Dave Loya checks into the lineup for Princeton, replacing Harlow. Harlow is out. He scored 4 points, and Loya, number 21, the middle of the foul lane, is in. Tumford makes it a 3-point play. It's 25-21. Princeton trails now by 4 after having trailed by 11. McMillan has it. Guarded by Petrie on a switch. That's Metz and Borger and Dotson. Dotson drives. Pretty play. Hayward Dotson with that big first step. 27-21. Columbia leads. 6:55 to go in the first half. Heiser all the way. 27-23 Columbia. Joe Heiser now has 5 points. High man in the ball game is Jim McMillan with 11. Lasik has 8. High man for Princeton is Tumford with 6. 27-23 Columbia with the ball and a 4-point lead. Dotson knocked out of bounds by Loya of Princeton. It's still Columbia ball. Capacity crowd on hand here at St. John's Gym. Foul committed. Hummer commits the foul. That's his second personal and the 5th committed by Princeton in the ball game. Columbia already has committed 6. If they commit another foul, Columbia does. Princeton will have the bonus rule in effect. Jim McMillan scores his 12th point to make it 28-23 Columbia. 6:20 to go in the first half. That's Heiser, number 14. As the shot, no, he passed off. Hummer has it. Hummer shoots. McMillan with the rebound. Foul call. Dave Lawyer was holding Jim McMillan. And that's the limit for Princeton. Both ball clubs have now committed 6 fouls in this first half. The bonus rule will now be in effect for both teams. That is after McMillan's shot. One shot for Jim McMillan, a good study of the Thomas Jefferson High School graduate out of Brooklyn. 6'5" and a sophomore. Marvelous athlete. 29-23, Columbia by 6. Princeton has the ball. 6 minutes to go in the first half. Foul committed. Larry Borgia was holding Chris Tumford, and now the one-on-one rule will be in effect. Signal from the bench indicates that if Tumford makes the first, he gets the bonus shot.
That's the 7th foul of the period. Chris Tumford shooting 1-1.
Still Princeton ball. Petrie driving. Lawyer underneath the Hummer. Hummer scored. He now has 7 points. Columbia lead is cut to 4 points. Columbia 29, Princeton 25. That's Bruce Metz, Jim McMillan. Rebounded Tumford. Princeton trails by 4 points, and Joe Heiser lost it to Bruce Metz. McMillan driving, beautiful play. A perfect feed by Haywood Dodson to Jim McMillan as McMillan cut across the lane, laid it up and in. Beauty. 31-25, Columbia by 6. 4:45 to go in the half. Lawyer palming the ball. He lost control, as you saw. Palmed it. Columbia's biggest margin thus far in the first half has been 11. It was cut to 4, and it is now 6 points. That's McMillan again. Dotson underneath the Borgia. Borgia scores. 33-25. Columbia again has an 8-point lead. And Princeton calls for time. There's timeout on the floor with the score. Columbia 33, Princeton 25. Ladies and gentlemen, a big day for basketball Saturday on WPIX. At 11 o'clock, the PSAL New York City High School Championship. At 1:15, the Ivy League champion, either Princeton or Columbia, against LaSalle. At 3:15, St. John's will take on Davidson, the Southern Conference champions, in the opening round of the NCAAs. And at 8:30 on Saturday night, the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship, all on WPIX Channel 11 this coming Saturday. Play resumed. 4:20 to go in the first half. Princeton with the ball, trailing by 8. Hummer deep. Tough luck on that shot. McMillan has the rebound. McMillan has a marvelous pair of hands. Every time he gets his hands on the ball, he never loses it. You watch on those rebounds particularly. Once his hands touch it, it sticks. Great pair of hands. There he is now. McMillan again, 35-25. McMillan has 17 points. His high for the season was 40. He has 17 already. Lawyer, Columbia ball. They lead by 10. That biggest margin was 11. Columbia has 35. Princeton 25. McMillan has 17. Substitution for Princeton. Harlow is back in, replacing Lawyer. Joe Heiser, captain of the ball club, bringing it in. Out to Tumford. Into the pivot to Hummer. There's Petrie shooting. Petrie hits. Hard driving sophomore from Springfield, PA, Jeff Petrie. Petrie now has 5 points. It's 35-27, Columbia over Princeton. 3 minutes to go in the first half. McMillan shoots. Rebounded Tumford. That's Harlow, number 31. And Tumford outside. Over to Petrie. Tumford shoots. 35-29. Columbia's lead cut to 6 points. Chris Tumford now high man for Princeton with 8 points. 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first half. Columbia leads by 6. That's Walazic, number 14. Walazic driving. Rebound by Borger. He saves it. That's McMillan. Dotson has room. Joe Heiser with the ball on the rebound. Princeton in possession. John Harlow at the far side. And Heiser guarded by Metz. Petrie has room. Rebounded Dotson. 1 minute and 45 seconds to go in the first half. Columbia leads by 6, 35-29. Columbia keeping the center wide open now, looking to cut through it or drive through it. There's Dotson going through. Foul committed. Jeff Petrie commits the foul. Dotson will be shooting 2. Haywood Dotson, 6'4", averaging better than 12 points a ball game all season. New York City high school product out of Stuyvesant High. A good student, obviously, having come out of Stuyvesant. And a great basketball player. 36-29. Columbia leading. 1:33 to go in the half. 37-29. Columbia by 8. The biggest margin was 11.
37-29.
Heiser with the ball for Princeton. Metz guarding him. Heiser shooting. Pretty. Heiser made it all the way. 37-31. Columbia's lead, 6 points. 1 minute and 15 seconds to go in the half. At the half, we're going to have Luke Hornacek, the St. John's coach, and Jim Harding, the LaSalle coach, both of whom are scouting tonight, on hand. McMillan hits again. McMillan has 19 points. 39 for Columbia, 31 Princeton, and McMillan has 19 points for Columbia. Heiser drives. Foul committed. Roger Walazic. 2 shots coming up for Joe Heiser. Roger Walazic commits the foul, his first personal. That's Larry Borger, number 44, sitting down. In the lineup for the first time tonight for Columbia is John Dodd, a 6'3" senior. Check that, I'm sorry. That's John Schiller, a 6'5" junior. John Schiller has just come in, number 25 at the foul lane now. 39-33, Columbia leads. Schiller has replaced Borger. You see 46 seconds to go in the half. Columbia leads by 6. That's Schiller with the ball now. And Dotson. A steal by Heiser. Heiser all the way. He lost it. A great play by Joe Heiser, but he blew the layup. 25 seconds to go in the half. Underneath to Ames. Schiller has it. 15 seconds to go in the half. Columbia leads by 6. Underneath to Schiller. It's still Columbia ball. 9 seconds to go as the clock is stopped. That's Walazic. Walazic scores. 5 seconds to go. 41-33. Columbia by 8. A long one by Petrie. It's short. That's the end of the half. So at the end of the first half, the score, Columbia 41, Princeton 33. Ready to go in the start of the second half. Columbia leading by a score of 41-33. Individually scoring. You see Dave Newmark starting at center. Newmark scored 2 in the first half. Jim McMillan, high man, with 19. Columbia ball. As Walezik with it. Rebound taken off by Harlow. Starting lineup for Princeton in the second half. The same 5 which started the ball game. Harlow and Hummer up front. Thumford in the middle. And at the guards are Heiser and Petrie. That's Harlow now. Hold everything. No basket. Foul before the shot. Roger Walezik committed the foul. And for Columbia, the same 5 which started the ball game for them. McMillan and Dotson with Dave Newmark at center and Ames and Walezik. That's John Harlow shooting 1. It drops. 41-34. A 7-point lead for Columbia. Columbia with the ball. Opening minute of the second half. Columbia with Ames and Dotson playing the backcourt, and up front of McMillan, Walezik, and Newmark. That's Newmark now. McMillan in the deep pivot. McMillan guarded by Hummer. McMillan comes out of there, and now Newmark goes over to the post. Now McMillan is deep again. Newmark on the outside. There's McMillan in the corner coming out for the pass. Out to Ames. Dotson has it. Dotson is guarded by Petrie. McMillan is guarded by Hummer. They're playing each other both ways. Walezik and Harlow. Deep underneath. Newmark shooting. It's good. 43-34. A good feed from Dotson to Newmark, who is deep. A 9-point lead. A near steal by Ames. And a jump ball call. Fine play by Bill Ames. Joe Heiser on the left, jumping against Bill Ames on the right. Controlled by Columbia. That's Jim McMillan with it. Hummer guarding him. McMillan shooting. Rebound taken off by Harlow. That's Petrie, number 24. Palming violation is called against Petrie. Petrie has scored 5 points thus far. Heiser has 9. High man for Princeton. Tumford 8. Hummer 7. Harlow 5. No one in double figures. For Columbia, Walezik has 10. McMillan has 19. That's Newmark now. As McMillan, he lost it. Hayward Dotson has 6 points. Larry Borger 2. Bill Ames 2. And Dave Newmark 4. 43-34, Princeton trailing. Princeton has the ball. 2 minutes are now gone in the second half. Heiser with it. Hummer shooting. A pretty rebound by Harlow. Harlow with a tap touch rebound. 43-36, Columbia by 7. Harlow now has 7 points. Both teams staying man-to-man. Interception by Tumford. Joe Heiser brings it up, guarded by Ames. Heiser again, driving. Hold everything. Foul committed. Ames commits the foul. Pushing. That's the second Columbia foul here in the second half. The first of the ball game for Bill Ames. And now Columbia calls for a timeout. There's timeout on the floor with the score. Columbia 43, Princeton 36. As we were saying at halftime, Lots of basketball on WPIX this coming Saturday, starting with the PSAL High School City Championship at 11 o'clock. Then at 1:15, the winner of this ball game against LaSalle in the opening round of the NCAA Easterns. At 3:15, St. John's against Davidson. And at 8:30 on Saturday night, the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. And WPIX will carry the NCAAs right through to the final. On Friday, March 15th at 10:30, the Eastern Regional semifinal. Then on Saturday, March 16th at 8:30, the Eastern Regional final. And then on Saturday, March 23rd, the NCAA Championship final from Los Angeles. One shot now for Heiser, and he makes it. 43-37. Joe Heiser is now 4 for 5 from the foul line. Heiser, as we said in the first half, is the leading foul shooter in collegiate ranks today, shooting better than 91%. That's Walezik with the ball now. Jim McMillan shooting, blocked by Comfort. Foul committed. Comfort commits the foul. Charges. One shot. He ran it to McMillan after the shot. Chris Comfort committing his third personal. He and Newmark have committed 3 personal fouls. McMillan scores his 20th point. It's 44-37 Columbia. 17-10 to go in the game. Walezik steals it away. Columbia's defense has been the difference thus far. They've allowed Princeton only 1 shot at a time. Their defensive rebounding has been excellent. And Princeton has had a tough time getting that shot off. It's still Columbia ball. Interception. Pretty play by Harlow. Columbia the last couple of times on these turnovers has hung that ball up there, and Princeton has been ready for it. Heiser laying it up. Foul committed. Bill Ames commits the foul. That's Ames' second personal foul, and it's the 3rd by Columbia here in the second half. 16:29 to go in the ball game. Columbia 44, Princeton 37. Joe Heiser on the line shooting 2 this time. 44-38. Columbia's lead cut to 6. He doesn't usually miss that many in a night. He's missed 2 now. Heiser has 11 points. Columbia leads by 6, 44-38. Newmark shooting. Newmark again. 46-38. 16 minutes to go in the ball game. Columbia leads by 8. Heiser shoots. Columbia ball. Princeton has won 6 Ivy League championships in the last 8 years. 5 in the last 6 years. Columbia has not won since the 1950-51 season when Jack Rowan, its coach, was a player. Dotson with it. 48-38. And that's obviously the Columbia side of St. John's Alumni Gym. Capacity crowd of over 6,000 on hand this evening. Heiser driving. McMillan with the rebound, and it was he who switched off to force Heiser to take a shot from outside. Haywood Dotson with the ball for Columbia. 14 and a half minutes to go in the game. Columbia by 10, 48-38. Dotson shoots. It's good. He was fouled. Jeff Petrie commits the foul. Dotson now has 10 points. There it is, 50-38. This is Columbia's biggest lead, 12 points. (51-38). Bruce Metz has come into the lineup for Columbia, replacing Bill Ames. There's Metz picking up the dribbler, Joe Heiser. Timeout called. Timeout called, officials timeout. Jack Roan is at the scorer's table, wanting to know something or other. There's Jack on the left. Referee Jim Lennon. And now Roan has gone back. Pete Carrill comes over, talking with Hummer on the right. Carrill goes back and sits down on the bench. Play about to be resumed. Princeton ball. They trail by 13 points. 51-38. Shot by Tumford. Ball hit out of bounds on the far side, and it's Columbia in possession. A very substantial Columbia lead. A 13-point bulge. 14 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the ball game. Newmark on the post. That's Bruce Metz, number 42. A near steal by Holler, but Walezik has it. 53-38. Columbia in the second half is playing basketball without making any mistakes. Foul committed. Jim McMillan commits the foul. That's McMillan's second personal foul. McMillan has committed, Columbia has committed 4 fouls in the second half. Johnny Hummer, sophomore who scored 27 last Saturday against Columbia, on the line now. He has 7 points thus far. Rebound to McMillan. Bruce Metz with the ball. 53-38, Columbia leading by 15. Whistle for a foul. Hummer commits the foul, holding McMillan. McMillan shooting 1. I think that by this time, McMillan has scored more points than any other sophomore in Columbia's history. He's 20 points shy of a Lions sophomore scoring record going in. He just scored his 21st point. He has just set a new sophomore scoring record, breaking the old mark of Chet 40s. Again, his timeout. We don't know why. Jack Roan is on the left. You see the 2 officials, Jim Lennon and Steve Hunso. Pete Carrill of Princeton is on the bench, just sitting there. It's Princeton ball. I don't know the reason for these interruptions. 54-38, Columbia by 16. Shot by Harlow. Hummer with the rebound. A beautiful block by Newmark. Harlow again. Harlow scores. Good offensive rebound by Princeton as Harlow scores. 54-40. Columbia with the ball and that 14-point lead. Foul called. Oh, wait a second. Steve Hunso has blown his whistle. There was a near fracas, I believe, between Tumford and Newmark as they were pushing and pulling each other near the foul line. Off the screen, there are the 2 of them. Newmark, much the bigger and heavier. He's 7 feet, and Tumford is 6'9". Let's see who was out of bounds. It's Princeton ball. Bruce Metz was out of bounds as he hit the ball. Princeton trailing by 14, looking to get back into the ball game. Hummer with it. Foul called. Charging, called against Hummer. He backed into Jim McMillan. That's John Hummer's 4th personal foul. And the third team foul committed by Princeton in the second half. Play is getting very rough. There's McMillan with it. Still Columbia ball. Tumford knocked it out. The smooth, slick ball handling of the first half is not in evidence now. Foul committed by Heiser, pushing. Joe Heiser's second personal foul and the fourth team foul. And now Princeton calls for timeout. There's timeout on the floor with the score. Columbia 54, Princeton 40. Gym at St. John's University in Jamaica, Queens. Marty Glickman reporting. A bedlam at the gym as Columbia is leading by 14 points over Princeton in the Ivy League championship game with 12 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the ball game. And this, in a manner of speaking, is just the start of things over WPIX, with all the NCAA games coming up, starting Saturday at 1:15 when the winner of this ball game meets LaSalle, and at 3:15, St. John's against Davidson in the opening round of the NCAAs. And Saturday night, the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. Following Friday, on March 15th, the Eastern Regional Semifinal. On Saturday, March 16th, the Eastern Regional Final. That's Met shooting. Tumford with the rebound. And then the NCAA National Championship game on Saturday, March 23rd. All over Channel 11 WPIX in New York. Underneath the Hummer. Foul called. Roger Walezik hitting John Hummer. Walezik committing his third personal foul. That's the fifth team foul committed by Columbia here in the second half. The limit, of course, is 6. Hummer on the line, shooting 2. He has 7 points thus far. 54-41. Columbia by 13. Rebound to McMillan. And Jim McMillan does it all, offensively and defensively. See what Petrie has switched off. He's guarding McMillan now, as Hummer is playing with 4 personals. Hummer is guarding Walezik. Foul committed. Petrie commits the foul on McMillan. Petrie's second personal foul. Also the 5th team foul for Princeton in the second half. Here's Dave Lawyer checking into the lineup again for Princeton, replacing Johnny Harlow. Harlow scored 9 points. Lawyer is number 21. That's Harlow going off. Pete Carrill standing up for the moment. That's the Princeton coach. One shot for Jim McMillan. He has 21 already, and now he has 22. 55-41. Columbia leading, as you see, with 11:51 to go in the game. Hummer on the post. There's Lawyer. Lawyer shooting. 55-43. That's Dave Lawyer's first bucket. Columbia leads by 12. 11:25 to go in the game. McMillan passing off. Dotson underneath. Good control by Hayward Dotson. Again, a 14-point bulge for Columbia. The biggest lead was 16. Tumford on the post. There's Heiser cutting by. Newmark with the rebound. 11 minutes to go in the game. Columbia by 14. A steal by Hummer. He scores. 57-45. Hummer now has 10 points. Columbia by 12. 10.5 minutes to go in the game. Newmark recovers. That's McMillan with it. Bruce Metz has it. McMillan driving, foul call, no basket. Petrie committed the foul. That's the limit of personals now for Princeton. No basket on the last play. Check that. That's the 7th foul. We were one shy. McMillan will shoot 1 and 1. There's Jack Rowan talking with Bruce Metz as Bill Ames has replaced Metz in the lineup. 1 and 1. And McMillan scores again. He now has 23 points. 58-45. Columbia by 13, and now by 14. 59-45. Jim McMillan is 8 for 8 from the foul line. And he scored 8 field goals. He has 24 points. Shot by Petrie, a beauty. Petrie scores. 59-47. Petrie has 7 points. Columbia leads by 12. 9:45 to go in the game. McMillan again. Rebound to Comfort. Joe Heiser hustling up court. Foul call. Roger Wilazik commits the foul. For Wilazik, that's his 4th personal. Roger Wilazik commits his 4th personal foul, and that's the limit for Columbia, their 6th. Is Dave Lawyer, senior from California, shooting 1. 59-48. Columbia leads by 11. 9 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the ball game. It's still Columbia ball as Heiser came over to double team and knocked it out of bounds. And now Princeton will start to take chances on defense. Foul committed. Chris Tumpford commits the foul. For Tumpford, his 4th personal. So both John Hummer and Chris Tumpford have committed 4 personals. On the line is Dave Newmark shooting 1 and 1. Columbia by 11, 59-48, 1 and 1 now for Newmark. 60-48. Newmark has 7 points. Eight points for Newmark. Columbia 61. Princeton 48. That's 18-point lead for Columbia. 9 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the game. There's Hummer. Rebound to McMillan. Underneath to Wilazik. A beautiful play. Dotson to Wilazik. 63-48. Beautiful fast break. There's Petrie. Petrie again. Petrie shoots. Rebounded Dotson. With 8.5 minutes to go in the ball game, Columbia is in control. They lead 63-48. Ames shooting. Rebound by Wilazik. Wilazik has 16 points. 65-48. Kicking against Bill Ames, Princeton ball. Princeton on defense, forced to gamble for possession, and Columbia is taking advantage. Princeton playing the ball. As Heiser going in. Big Newmark covering him, however, on a switch. Now they switch back. Petrie passing off. It's still Princeton ball off Newmark. Joe Heiser has it. Heiser drives. Pretty play by Joe Heiser. Again, that quick first step. 65-50, Columbia. Columbia's biggest lead a moment ago was 17. 7:45 to go in the ball game. Columbia leads by 15 points. Walezik all the way. Foul committed. Hummer commits the foul, his 5th. And John Hummer, that fine sophomore, goes out of the ball game. McMillan shakes his hand. And Hummer strides to the bench. He gets a marvelous hand from both Columbia and Princeton fans. John Hummer, who led Princeton to the win against Columbia last Saturday night with his 27 points, is out on 5 personals. He scored 10 tonight. Played his heart out. Has his coach Pete Carrill in front. But Hummer will be back. He's just a sophomore. Roger Walezik on the line, shooting 2. Walezik, second high scorer for Columbia, has 17 points now. McMillan has 24. John Hummer, disconsolate on the bench. 67-50, a 17-point lead for Columbia with 7.5 minutes to go in the ball game. An almost insurmountable margin. Tumford hooking. The basket is good. He was fouled by Newmark. Newmark's 4th personal. Basket by Tumford is good. His 10th point. There's Tumford. 6'9" is junior out of Long Island. Borgia comes into the lineup, replacing Newmark. Just listen and look for the hand for Newmark. Out of Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, 7-foot junior comes back into the lineup, and he sure did make a difference. That's his 4th personal foul, but he scored 8 points. And there's McMillan. 26 points for Jim McMillan. Columbia 69, Princeton 53. Lawyer shooting. Rebound of Bruce Metz. .6:45 to go in the ball game. Foul committed. Dave Lawyer commits the foul. 1-1 coming up now for Haywood Dotson. Another sophomore for Columbia. This figures to be quite a ball club a year from now, too. There's a conference going on at the near side. McMillan, the sophomore. Dotson, a sophomore. Walezik, a junior. Newmark, a junior. One and one coming up with Dotson. Columbia has been sensational from the foul line tonight. They've missed 4 fouls. Let's total up the number they've made. 71-53, the biggest lead of the night for Columbia, 18 points. They're 18 for 22 from the foul line, Columbia is. That's pretty darn good. Nice shot. Scoring for Princeton, Mike Marty, 6', 8" sophomore, Michael Marty. There's Metz, nice pass to Borgia. Pretty play. 73-55, Columbia. Again, the 18-point lead. 6 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the ball game. That's Marty shooting. Rebound taken off by Dotson. Roger Walezik with the ball. McMillan. Foul call. Dave Lawyer commits the foul. No, it's Jeff Petrie. Petrie goes out of the ball game. Jeff Petrie committing his 5th, and out of the ball game goes Jeff Petrie. A terrific sophomore, scored 7 points. When you talk about young ball clubs, Princeton has Hummer, a sophomore, Petrie, a sophomore, and Tumford, a junior, back for next year. John Arbogast, number 33, a sophomore, 6'2", out of California, comes into the lineup, replacing Petrie. And now time is called by Princeton. There's time out on the floor with the score. Columbia 73, Princeton 55. Going into the final 5 minutes and 48 seconds of play, Columbia leads Princeton for the Ivy League Championship and the right to the NCAA Postseason Classic beginning next week in Maryland. Those games to be televised over WPIX. There's Jim McMillan on the line shooting 1-1. Columbia is now leading 74-55, a 19-point lead. McMillan scores again. He's 10 for 10 from the foul line. He has 28 points. 9 field goals, 10 for 10 from the line. He is the greatest scorer in the sophomore history of Columbia basketball. Shot by Loya. 75-57. Columbia leading. There's McMillan again. Wolazic playing with 4 personals in the corner. Out to McMillan. Zone defense being used by Princeton for the first time now. Underneath the... There he is, McMillan. 30 points for Jim McMillan. Again, a 20-point lead for Columbia, 77-57. 5:05 to go in the game as Harlow shoots. Rebound taken off by Dotson. Knocked out of bounds. It's Columbia ball. Princeton is in an all-court press now. And a steal, shot by Heiser. Still Princeton ball. Johnny Arbogast, A-R-B-O-G-A-S-T, Arbogast. And now Columbia looks as though it's calling for time, and it does. Call for timeout. Well, it looks as though it's all over with the final 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Columbia has a 20-point lead, 77-57. And Princeton has 2 of its starting 5 out of the ball game on 5 personals. John Hummer and Jeff Petrie. Columbia is going to win it. Those are the Columbia fans and mighty pleased about things. And you'll be watching Columbia again Saturday afternoon at 1:15 when they meet LaSalle in the opening round of the Eastern NCAAs. And then at 3:15 over WPIX, St. John's against Davison, the Southern Conference champion. 8:30 on Saturday night, the Atlantic Coast Conference championship game. And then Saturday morning, too, the PSAL High School Championships of New York City. It's Princeton ball underneath the Princeton basket. They're trailing by 20 points, 77-57, 4:56 to go in the ball game. That's Heiser near the left side as his jumper. 77-59. Heiser now has 15 points. He's high man for the Tiger. Haywood Dotson brings it up. Foul being called. Joe Heiser commits the foul. That's his 3rd personal. On the line shooting 1-1 is Dotson. Dotson was a pivot man in high school at Stuyvesant High, played the middle, converted to a backcourt playmaker, feeder and shooter, and a fine defensive player by Jack Rowan. Columbia is just great from the foul line tonight. They've just missed 4. I guess they're 21 for 25 now, 22 for 26.
79-59.
What a difference, 79-59. Princeton has only missed 4 foul shots also. They haven't taken as many as Dotson lays it up and in. Dotson now has 19 points. Walezik has 18. McMillan has 30. 81-59. Columbia over Princeton. Lawyer. Rather, Walezik knocked it out. Lawyer was there. Arbogast tossing it inbounds to Heiser. Heiser playing his last game for Princeton. An all Ivy League selection. Bruce Metz committed the foul. On the line is Joe Heiser. He'll be shooting 1-1.
Joe Heiser shooting 1-1.
Joe Heiser, a Husky 6'2", 3 years of varsity basketball, 3 of the best. Captain of the ball club. McMillan with the rebound, and now Dotson brings it up. Zone press being used now by Princeton, but Columbia moving the ball well. Looking for that open man. There he is now. McMillan. McMillan has 32. Columbia, a poised ball club. They just won't be pressed. They lead 83-59. Of course, Princeton must gamble on defense, try to get that ball, and it's costing them. Heiser shooting, pretty. Nice play. Regaining his balance beautifully after slipping. 83-61. Columbia leading by 22. Foul called.
Princeton substitution number 15.
Substitution in the lineup for Princeton. Steve Pajic replaces Joe Heiser. Heiser gets a big hand. And Newmark comes back in, and Ames comes back in. The Columbia starting 5 is back in the lineup. Metz and Borger come out, 1-1. I have a feeling Jack Rowan will keep them in there for just a moment or two and probably take them out en masse. McMillan hits again, 11 for 11 from the foul line, 33 points. He's simply tremendous. 12 for 12 from the foul line, 11 field goals, 12 fouls, 34 points. It should be 36 points. 11 field goals, 12 fouls. Harlow hits. 3:15 to go in the game. Columbia leading 85-63. I'm sorry, that's 11 field goals. That makes it 34. 11 field goals and 12 fouls.
Princeton foul by number 1, Dave Lawyer.
Dave Lawyer commits the foul. Roger Walezik is on the line shooting 1-1 again. Princeton battling down on the wire, going for the ball and fouling in the process of doing so. But Columbia converting those foul shots.
Corner shot.
Walezik now has 19 points. Dotson also has 19. 20 points for Walezik.
Columbia leads 87-63.
A near perfect ball game for Columbia. Pajic handing off to Harlow. Harlow has it. And Pajic. Pajic drives. 87-65.
By Steve Pajic. Columbia leads 87-65.
Pajic steals it. Over to Arbogast. Back to Lawyer. Nice play. 87-67. A 20-point lead. Columbia in front. And it's Princeton ball. Dotson couldn't get it in. Here's John Schiller coming in for Columbia now, replacing Walezik. Walezik comes out. He scored 20 points. Columbia calls for time. There's no question now about the outcome of the ball game. Columbia with a 20-point lead. Jack Rowan around his ball club. 2 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the ball game. Columbia will be heading for Maryland and the NCAA Eastern Regionals. But more important to them, they will have won the Ivy League Championship. The first time since 50-51, dethroning Princeton in this playoff game. The big surprise tonight was Dave Newmark stalling the ball game for Columbia. And though Newmark scored just 8 points, below his season's average of 17 a ball game, well below it, his presence was important, particularly on defense. That's Pajic, number 15. Princeton ball. Harlow has it. He lays it up. Foul committed. Harlow commits the foul. That's Harlow's first personal foul. It'll be 1-1 for Columbia once again. 2 minutes and 26 seconds to go in the ball game. It'll be a long ride back for the Princeton fans here at St. John's tonight in Queens. 1-1 now for Dotson. Finally missed. That's Pajic, number 15, with the ball. He's quick. Stolen by McMillan, intercepted by him. Foul called. Harlow commits the foul. Again, McMillan shoots 1-on-1. Jim McMillan, 34 points, 11 field goals, 12 for 12 from the foul line. 1-on-1 coming up for him now. I don't know how many rebounds he's had. I would estimate about 15. And maybe a half a dozen assists as well. What an athlete. 6'5", just a sophomore. He finally missed. Well, it hardly matters now as Columbia leads 87-67 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the ball game. Harlow has it. Long one by Arbogast. Knocked out of bounds by Princeton. Columbia ball. Here come the Princeton substitutions now. John Dodd comes in, number 25, and number 22 is also Tom Chestnut, a junior, and John Dodd, a senior. Harlow goes out. Johnny Harlow, a senior, has played his last moments for Princeton. 2 Ivy League titles in his 3 varsity years. 3 good ones at Princeton for John Harlow and for Joe Heiser. A steal by Arbogast. 87-69, 1:50 to go in the ball game. Ames with the ball. Ames shooting. Foul called. Foul is called against Larry Borger. Borger rather surprised about it. Well, the postseason is beginning here on WPIX with that complete schedule for Saturday of the NCAA Eastern Regionals, then the semifinals of finals next Friday night and Saturday night. That is 2 weeks from last weekend, if I could put it that way, forgive me. And then the NCAA championships from Los Angeles on the 23rd, all over WPIX. Bill Ames comes out, number 24, replaced in there by George Thomas, a junior from Newcastle, Pennsylvania, number 12. McMillan still in there. Princeton ball. Pajic shoots. Rebound of Pajic. It's good. Basket doesn't count. He was traveling before the shot. Steve Pajic out of Jacksonville, Florida, senior, just 5'10". Haywood Dotson for Columbia. Jim McMillan. Basket is good. Foul committed by Princeton's John Dodd. McMillan has 36 points. Haywood Dotson sitting down. Dotson scored 19 points. Princeton substitution, Rod Fogelman, a sophomore from Reading High School, replaces Pajic.
Haywood Dotson scored 19 points for Columbia.
Where did you hear the roar when Jim McMillan comes out? Here comes McMillan now. Yes, McMillan coming in the side now. Here he is. McMillan scored 37 points. Princeton scores as Albicaz knocks it through. 90-72. Princeton trails by 18. Columbia with the ball. Bill Ames is run into. Another substitution for Columbia. Here comes Captain Larry Borger out of the lineup. Tom Garnavikas replaces him. The only man, the only regular for Columbia still in there now is Bill Ames. Ames is on the foul line. 55 seconds to go, and 55 seconds for Columbia to become the Ivy League champion. Their overall record will be 21-4, and they'll be the first Ivy League champion for Columbia in basketball, of course, since the 50-51 season. Bucket scored by Bob Hewer of Princeton. 30 seconds to go in the ball game. Columbia by 16 points. Foul committed, no basket. Charging foul called against Columbia. Charging on the play was John Schiller. 20 seconds to go in the ball game. Columbia in 20 seconds is going to be the champion. Bill Ames going over the press table at the far side. No basket on the last play as Ames lost it out of bounds. 17 seconds to go. Columbia leading 90-74. They led at halftime 41-33. Jim McMillan with 37 points. High man in the ball game. Arbogast laying it up. 10 seconds. Pretty play. Ken Brown scores for Columbia. That's it. The ball game is over. Final score. That's the end of the ball game. Columbia 92, Princeton 74. Well, Columbia has won it, beating Princeton in this playoff game, winning it 92-74. And quickly the individual scoring. As you know, Jim McMillan, high man in the ball game with 37 points. Roger Walasic scored 20. Haywood Dotson scored 19. Larry Borger had 4 points for Columbia. Bill Ames 2. Dave Newmark scored 8 points, and Ken Brown scored 2. Columbia's total 92. Princeton had 74, scored by Joe Heiser 17 points. Chris Tumford's 11. John Hummer scored 10. John Harlow 9. Jeff Petrie 7, Dave Lawyer 7, John Arbogast scored 4, Fogelman scored 2, Marum scored 2, Pajic scored 2, Chestnut 1, Heward 2. Final score once again, Columbia 92, Princeton 74, Columbia Ivy League champion. Don't forget, Saturday at 11 o'clock, the high school PSAL City Finals, the championship game, to be followed at 1:15 by the game between Columbia and LaSalle in the opening round of the NCAAs, to be followed at 3:15 over WPIX, and the game between St. John's and Davidson. And Saturday night at 8:30, the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship game. And the following weekend, on Friday and Saturday nights, the Eastern semifinals and final games. And then on Saturday, March 16th, the Eastern Regional Championship. On Saturday, March 23rd, the NCAA Championships. The final score once again here at St. John's Alumni Gym. Columbia 92 and St. John's, Columbia 92 and Princeton 74. Started to say St. John's because we wanted to thank two men in particular for their wonderful cooperation here at St. John's. Director of Athletics Bill McLaughlin. Check that, Walter McLaughlin. And Bill Esposito, who handles PR for the athletic department here at St. John's. This has been college basketball. Participating advertiser is Schaefer Beer as another major event in your Schaefer Circle of Sports. Schaefer, the one beer to have when you're having more than one.